I'm Haley Menard from the Sugar Burger, and welcome to my Hizzity House kitchen. Today we are making whoopie pies, a New England favorite, and you can pop these boys out in under an hour. Whoopie pies are a wonderfully confusing dessert. First of all, they're not a pie. Second of all, they're shaped like a cookie, but they're actually cakes. Basically, we're making a cake batter, but we're making a cake batter that will hold the shape of a cookie. The recipe that I riffed off of to do that is supposedly an old family recipe. Proof, my handy dandy recipe card with Becky's handwriting on it that's like clearly tattered and been used and abused and left on the counter and spilled on. Turns out after Google machining, it is not a family recipe. This crazy cakes is all over the internet. Some people call it kooky cake. Some people call it depression cake because apparently it was made this way during the Depression because people didn't have eggs. Big disappointment there. Shout out to Becky for that lie. That was a good one. So let's get our dry ingredients cooking. We have 2 cups of regular flour, dump, 1 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and then there is 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt here. So once everybody's in the bowl here, I'm gonna give it a whisk. So once you've whisked all of your dry ingredients, we are going to make 3 wells. 1 well is going to be for vegetable oil, 1 for vinegar, and 1 for vanilla. I made a pretty significant one for the vegetable oil because that's going to be 5 tablespoons. A Kirkland capful of vanilla, and this is our 1.5 teaspoons of vinegar. So the vinegar is really the magic here. That's why you don't have to use eggs. You have vinegar and baking soda. So those are going to be what makes your cakes rise. So now that we have our 3 individual wells all filled up, I am going to fill 1 cup up with warm water. So when we pour this over the wells, everything's gonna mix together and, you know, homogenize in harmony. And then we can mix the entire batter just until combined. You don't want to over whisk or over mix. It makes your cakes apparently have a cone head. That's what my mom said. I don't know if it's true, but I believe her. Anyway, let's bang this out. Now that we're all mixed up, the next step is to pop this on a cookie sheet. I am going to use an ice cream scoop. It turns out my ice cream scoop is way too big for this. It makes whoopie pies they're just like massive. So I fill mine about halfway. You're really aiming to get, Susan, how many whoopie pies are over there?
At least 4.
5, 6? How many did I get? You're really aiming to get 8 whoopie pies out of this, which means 16 individual cakes to make the sandwiches. So keep that in mind when you're picking your scooping implement. Now it's time to scoop them. Your entire batch isn't gonna fit on 1 normal size cookie sheet. Just give them some breathing room. With any luck, they're gonna get bigger. These might not all be perfect circles. If someone refuses to eat your whoopie pie because it's not a perfect circle, terrible person. This is about as many as we're gonna fit on this pan without compromising our cooking situation. These go in the oven at 350 degrees for 18 minutes. All right, here we go. Here they are, our pride and joy. They have risen and they are baked, and we are gonna double check with the classic toothpick trick, where if we pop this guy in the center, he should come out clean as a whistle, which he does. So we have to let these cool before we can fill them. Overall, they came out perfect. The next step is to make the filling. The filling is a marshmallow cream. I use marshmallow fluff, which is a New England favorite. We got some butter and sugar. The very worst part is getting the marshmallow out of the jar. Oh, it's gonna get on me now. Oh, Susan. This is 7.5 ounces of the fluff, and you're putting all of it in. Almost there. Now that we painstakingly got the marshmallow in the bowl, we're going to add 1 stick of butter in there and beat those 2 guys together. Once the butter and marshmallow look pretty well combined, and as a side note, using room temperature butter really helps that happen a heck of a lot faster, we are going to add 1 cup of powdered sugar. And then this will basically just fluff up the mixture so it's that nice, fluffy, pretty filling that you see in a whoopie pie. So now that we are combined and fluffed and beautiful, I am going to add this to a piping bag. Even if you don't invest in tips, I highly recommend you invest in piping bags, or you can try to use a Ziploc bag if you're in a pinch. But being able to pipe this onto the whoopie pie is gonna look a whole lot prettier and be a whole lot less messy than trying to like scoop it from a spoon or use a butter knife or something like that. You're not an animal, get a piping bag. So let's add some of this delicious marshmallow cream to said piping bag. And then, like I said, if you don't invest in tips, that's totally cool. I'm gonna cut off just the tip, and then we can pipe our cookies, cakes, pies, whatever. So here we go. We're just going to pipe in a circle and then fill in the middle. I like to make the ratio of filling kind of roughly the same thickness as our cake so that it looks really beautiful when you go ahead and put its hat on. So now this is a new exciting addition to the show. We're gonna add the husband taste test. So I'm gonna bring in my favorite husband, Nate. That's you. Nate, welcome to making whoopie pies.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Here you go. Give it a little taste test and let us know your rating.
That's good.
That's good. All right.
That's real good. Thank you.
Thanks for your service. I appreciate your taste buds.
Okay. Thanks.
Love you. There you have it, your under an hour whoopie pies that are indeed really good.